Hey there! Today we're going to be doing something very different from what I normally do. Now normally I do videos to be attempting speed runs, or sometimes just me and my friend fucking around while I run through a game. But instead of that, I figured it wouldn't hurt to throw together a guide on magic boosts for Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. Stat boosts are an important part of this series, and magic boosts are arguably one of the most important resources in this game. There are two ways to farm: item synthesis and data battles. We're going to start with item synthesis, but I'll wrap back around to data battles by the end. Before we start, I want to make a few things clear. First off, my Moogle level is maxed out, and this guide will assume that yours is too. It's not too difficult of a task, so I would do that before anything else. Second, I'm using some broken fucking equipment that helps me speed things up. Let's start with Lucky Rings. I have Lucky Rings, filling out every accessory slot in my party for a total of 9. Lucky Rings have to be synthesized, and they're kind of a bitch. I don't really plan on doing a guide on these, because there are some really good ones out there already, but I might change my mind. With all of these Lucky Rings, I'm also on critical mode, which starts Sora off with 2 additional Lucky Luckies. So, Sora has 3 base Lucky Luckies, one of them learned from leveling Limit Form. Donald and Goofy each have 1, and we have 9 Lucky Rings for a total of 14 drop rate increases. An additional 1 if you choose to use Limit Form, but I wouldn't recommend it for this. It'll be limited to what abilities you can use, And at the point of having 14 Lucky Luckies, 15's not all that different. People were complaining about Sweet Memories not having Lucky Lucky anymore in Final Mix, but fuck Sweet Memories, we can make Lucky Luckies now. The second thing I grinded out were Shock Charm Pluses, 4 of them for Sora. I also equipped Photon Debugger, and I make sure that I have a Thunder Boost equipped. That gives me 6 Thunder Boosts on Sora. That should melt any enemy that isn't resistant to it, especially with a high enough magic stat. If you're on level 1, you'll be down to Thunder Boost, but it's not going to change things too drastically. Magnet and Thunder will wipe most things at level 99 even without any stat boost. You should have Ether set to your party members and have their behavior set to Sora attacks so they don't waste them. I know a lot of mage builds use Stitch to save on Ethers, but the party must be active for their Lucky Lucky to be active, so drop rates will get lower if you summon. You do not need this setup for grinding, but it'll make it go by much quicker. In fact, I think I'm almost out of Ethers. So, yeah. So what I have right now is just what I have going for me. It's not going to be too difficult without magic, just because I try to play it safe. I stick around the save points to make things go a lot smoother, and so I can just leave the world, respawn enemies, and come right back. One last thing that should be important to note is that as far as bosses go, all stats are soft capped at 85. If you're only interested in grinding out your stats for bosses, it is not necessary to go past 85, although I typically shoot for 90 to 100 purely out of OC. That being said, as far as I can tell, regular enemies don't have a soft cap, so if you're just trying to get that fun notification that tells you that stat boosts won't have any effect, and yeah, it really does feel that rewarding, or maybe you're just trying to melt through enemies for synthesis reasons, go nuts. I'm not 100% on this, so if I'm wrong, let me be. Now, let's get into the fun of item synthesis. The magic boost is actually an upgraded recipe for AP boost, so off the rip, you're gonna need Serenity Crystals. We'll tackle those last, so don't worry. The ingredients for these are 2 Power Crystals, 2 Dark Crystals, 2 Frost Crystals, and 1 Mithril Gem. And don't worry, the Mithril Gem also has to be synthesized. And then the Serenity Crystal that upgrades it from AP boost also has to be synthesized. We'll start with a Mithril Gem, because you basically just run around the world and never was, until you have enough materials to synthesize them. I'll go down the list of the materials you need, followed by the nobodies that drop them. Twilight Crystals are dropped by the Sorcerers. Those are Xemnas as nobodies. They don't have a lot of spawn points, but I'll show you where to find them. Dense Crystals are Berserkers, Saiyx as nobodies. They have a few more spawn points, but there's a good way to farm those specifically. Twilight gems are assassins, Axles are nobodies. And then the dense gems are dropped by samurai, Roxas nobodies. So, one good way to do this is to head to Proof of Existence, go north, reflect his attacks so he kills himself, reflect these, come up here, summon the second sorcerer, same deal, reflect his attacks, and now we're going to go south,
gather
assassins.
gather gather thunder
The only problem with doing it this way is that the assassins aren't going to respawn. But there is enough zones in between that the sorcerers will respawn, and when we go back down, the berserkers and the samurai are going to respawn. And the samurai are probably the hardest to find enemies as far as this goes. I think they spawn in like the first part of the town when you first come into the world and never was, but I don't remember well enough.
gather gather gather
Another good place to spawn berserkers and assassins is to go to that final save point, go back down into this room, and then spam
Gather.
Magnet and Thunder.
gather gather gather
Down here, a few more assassins spawn.
gather
Now, the other ingredients. For power crystals, gonna head down to Radiant Garden, or Hollow Bastion if you were skipping around. Gonna go to the Crystal Fissure. Going to go out this way, and we're going to start killing those morning stars that spawn. It should give us power
Gather.
crystals. For dark crystals, it's time to head to the Land of the Dragons. Going to go to the Bamboo Thicket. Bamboo Grove, sorry. Head into the camp. And now for the last piece, Frost Crystals, we're going to go to the Pride Lands, and then we're going to run around the Elephant Graveyard a little bit, and just spam Thunder, going to kill off some of the living bones. Now the cool thing about living bones, they also drop elixirs, and that is a really, really good item for this game. Going to go ahead and try killing off some of the Neo Shadows too, just because free bright crystals are free bright crystals, regardless of how annoying the drop rate is. And now, it's time to move on to Serenity Crystals. So, Serenity Crystals suck. I'm not going to try to make it sound better than it is, but there are two ways to get them. The first way is bulky vendors. They're kind of a bitch to time, but if you hit the last reaction command, you can get a guaranteed Serenity Crystal. Bulky vendors just kind of spawn up between 4 or 5 places. And you'll know that they spawn because there'll be a little notification, they'll show up briefly before disappearing, and then you just have to destroy or hit something on the map to make them come out. Thankfully, they spawn practically right next to save points, so it's not too difficult to find them. It's probably going to end up being a Beast's Castle. Okay. Make sure that you don't have any fucking auto limits on. Because I was doing a Terra battle.
Yeah, take this.
And then immediately went from doing the Terra battle to this. And when I went to go use the reaction command, I accidentally duck flared the poor bastard. Who did nothing other than just screamed, really. Okay, I need you to not be around there, come on. Okay. And
let's go.
Bone Capsule should give us a Serenity Crystal. So that's the first way of getting them. The second way is through synthesis, and it's kind of a bitch, but I'll get you through that too. For Serenity Crystals, we're going to need 1 Tranquility Crystal, 1 Remembrance Crystal, and then 5 Bright Crystals. Bright Crystals are a fucking pain in the ass as far as drop rates go. Arguably one of the more difficult things to get in this game are going to be Bright Crystals. Tranquility Crystals drop from any of the Mushroom 13s, so if you have a favorite one that you like to do, go ahead and do it. I'm going to show you the one that I use, which is that lovely little guy in the Cave of Wonders treasure room. And my tactic for him is still with the same Thunder things, going into Master Form and just abusing him with Thunder. It takes on average about 5 seconds. Remembrance Crystals are a little trickier, just because there's only one enemy in this game that drops them. So, we're going to go back to Radiant Garden. We're going to go through the Garden of Assemblage. Go through this fucked up hallway. Occasionally sorcerers will spawn here too, but it's not a guarantee. Go through here. Come out this way into the engine chamber. And there's this red version of the Tron Heartless called Reckless. We're going to reflect its attack, grab a crystal, leave, immediately go back, because in the Cavern of Remembrance, enemies respawn as soon as you leave. You can spawn multiple of these at a time, but this is the safest way to continuously get them, because, in my opinion, just on my level 1 run, I kept getting way too brave, and then I would die, and I would lose a bunch of materials that I worked hard for. And now, it's time to go grab Bright Crystals. Now, my favorite farming spot for Bright Crystals is in the Underworld. Going to go to the Inner Chamber. come right back out into the passage. And then just start killing Neo Shadows. There's another type of Heartless here called a Crescendo that also drops Sprite Crystals. And thankfully, they're also pretty easy to farm. The cool thing about this area, too, are the little spirit orbs that keep spawning. They give you magic every time they're hit, and they get hit by pretty much every magnet, so it's kind of difficult to run out of MP doing this. Going to cover two quick things before I go back to synthesize some of these. And those are energy crystals and energy gems. Energy materials, when you use them for synthesis, it cuts the ingredients down by half. Which is very, very, very fucking useful. Come out here. So we've got some energy crystals. We're going to go back to Agrabah, onto the Cave of Wonders, and try to get some energy gems.
Gather! Thunder! Gather! Thunder! Gather! Thunder! Gather!
Got some energy gems. And now, I'll go back to Beast Castle. Go to my boy Monty for some synthesis. That's how you synthesize magic boosts. So, the second one. There are two data battles that will draw magic boosts after you defeat them. Axel and Roxas. While I like the Roxas fight, I'm not all that good at it, so I'm going to be showing you guys the Axel method. And it is cheap. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty fucking cheap. But archive plus. These are important because it gives you an additional MP range, and almost every ability in this game can stack. And since Axel has that the floor is lava thing going for him, it makes it to where as you're getting your health drained, you're constantly getting magic back, which is good because this is a magic-based fucking fight as far as I'm concerned. And it's real simple. We're just going to reflect his attack when he comes up to attack us, and then follow with 2 regular hits and a blizzard combo. We're not going to be using any finishers just yet. We're trying to get his health down to about 3 bars before we do that. Don't fucking worry about your HP. Do not worry about your HP at all. Okay, hit him with that. You've got Axel down in under a minute, and now you have a magic boost. And he doesn't go into the firewall to do that reaction command until you hit him a certain amount of times.
I'll make it all stop.
I think it's more of a damage than the amount of times that he, like, takes damage. Like, just then, I fucked it. That wasn't really good of me, but, and that. I also fucked that. So getting too confident will quickly ruin that fight for you. But let me try it a 3rd time, and hopefully I can get that 2nd magic boost.
Come here, I'll make it all stop.
But timing's really important in this fight. I know it looked way easier because of the way that I managed to get it done that 1st time, but it's not always going to be that easy. Okay, this next one I should be good to do a finisher on. And then yeah, then the next that. Yeah. So now you know how easy this fight can be and how easy it is to lose focus and lose it. But yeah, those are, in my opinion, the best ways to get magic boosts, whether it's from synthesizing or just beating Axel's ass over and over. Let me know if there are any other tutorials that you think I should tackle, or any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.